Welcome to U.S. Immigration TV. Now, when Joe Biden was running for president, he promised massive changes and reforms to our immigration policies and systems during his first 100 days in office. And one of his stated goals was to reverse many of Trump's harsh and strict policies. Well, he's now been in office for over 100 days, and in this video, I will highlight some of the more significant policies, reforms, and changes that Biden has proposed or has already implemented. Now, what are those changes? Could you benefit from any of those changes now? Watch this video until the end as I list the various policies and changes in case you or somebody you know may benefit. So make sure at the end of the video to like, share, and subscribe. First, let's deal with the immigration proposals. Now, Biden has already proposed or introduced into Congress several immigration reforms, or kind of like amnesties, such as the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021, which provides a pathway to legalization and citizenship for the approximate 11 million undocumented immigrants who are already in the U.S. Now, I've already featured a video on this proposal, which provides more details of who could possibly benefit. Another proposal is the Dream and Promise Act of 2021, which really focuses on legalization for the DACA recipients or the Dreamers. Now, to be clear, these are only proposals. They are not yet law, and therefore, there's nothing for anyone to apply for at the present time. These proposals are still working their way through Congress, and in fact, in Biden's recent address to Congress on April 28, 2021, he called for Congress to pass these reforms, or if they do not agree with them in their entirety, then at least pass some of them piecemeal. In other words, some of the proposals that they agree on. And we're still waiting for the comprehensive immigration reform. Now, if there are any significant changes or developments or movements in these proposals, I will of course keep you informed on this channel. Now, let's discuss executive actions. Now, while immigration law can only be passed by Congress, a president is still able to make changes to immigration policies and enforcement even without Congress passing any new law. And this can be done by way of executive actions or proclamations, regulations, internal agency memos, and the like. Now, this is how Biden has made changes during his first 100 days as president. In fact, it was reported by the Migration Policy Institute that during his first 100 days in office, the Biden administration has already taken at least 94 executive actions on immigration. Now, that's compared to fewer than 30 taken by Trump during his first 100 days in office. Now, 52 of those executive actions by Biden were to undo some of the Trump's administration's policies. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go through all of the 94 immigration-related executive actions in this video. But here are 8 highlights of the reforms and changes that Biden has made which could possibly benefit you or someone you know right now. Number 1, return to the 1999 policy on public charge. Now, during his presidency, Trump tried to make the public charge rules and requirements stricter. And that could have resulted in tens of thousands of people being denied because they had accepted certain public benefits or did not meet income levels. And there were a lot of court challenges and injunctions. And the Biden administration has announced that Trump's public charge changes have been canceled. And we're going to be going back to the standards that had been in place since 1999. So if your case was denied based on Trump's public charge changes or requirements, you may want to consult with an attorney about seeking reconsideration or reopening. Or if you held off filing because of Trump's strict changes, you may want to consider filing now. Number 2, reinstatement of DACA. Trump had proposed eliminating DACA for young people, and there were various court challenges which went all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Biden administration announced that it was officially not going to be pursuing any more legal challenges to DACA. And in fact, on the USCIS website, it now indicates that DACA has been fully reinstated and people can even apply for the first time if they had not done so before. So if you did not get the chance the last time and you believe you're eligible for DACA, then now is your time to take advantage of it. Number 3, deference to prior approvals. Previously, before Trump, if a petition had been previously approved, let's say, for example, an H-1B temporary working visa, and the person was now applying for an extension, the officer who is processing the extension should give deference or honor and respect to the original approval unless they saw that there was some sort of fraud or mistake in connection with the original approval. Now, Trump changed all of that, and he had a policy that an officer reviewing an extension should not give deference to the prior approval. The officer processing the extension should assume the original approval was by mistake, and they should review the extension in minute detail. Now, fortunately, the Biden administration has gone back to the previous policy that deference should be given to previous approvals when seeking an extension. Now, if you had a denial on your extension, maybe you should consider consulting with an attorney to see if there are options available for refiling and issues about your status. Number 4, canceling the new citizenship civics test. Now, when a person is applying for U.S. citizenship, they have to answer several questions about U.S. history and civics. The Trump administration came up with a more difficult test. Now, the Biden administration has shelved those new civic test questions and has gone back to the pre-Trump testing. Now, if you are eligible to apply for U.S. citizenship, you should consult with an attorney and take advantage of this before there are any other changes. Number 5, ICE will exercise prosecutorial discretion. Now, prosecutorial discretion involves the decision by a prosecutor as to whether or not to pursue a case. Now, under Trump, ICE would absolutely refuse to exercise prosecutorial discretion and instead basically wanted to prosecute or pursue the removal or deportation of practically anybody who was out of status. Now, under prosecutorial discretion, if a person does not propose a security risk, like they're not a felon or a terrorist, then prosecutorial discretion could involve ICE's agreement to terminate or close a case while a person pursues other avenues to legalize. Let's say they're married to a U.S. citizen or they've been petitioned by an employer or other family member. Now, I know in my office we've had several people who are already in removal or deportation proceedings, but the trial attorneys, those are the prosecutors for ICE, agreed to either terminate or reopen the case if there was already an existing deportation order. Now, while there's no guarantee, there's more hope for you now if you are already in removal proceedings or were already ordered removed. Now, you may want to see an attorney about whether or not you could be eligible or benefit from prosecutorial discretion. Number 6, terminated most travel and visa restrictions imposed during Trump administration. Now, the Trump administration had imposed what was referred to as a Muslim ban against people coming from certain Muslim countries, as well as a complete immigration ban for most people applying for immigrant and non-immigrant visas. Biden rescinded that policy, and it also expired as of April 2021. Now, subject to COVID restrictions, embassies can start issuing family and employment-based visas as well as non-immigrant visas. Now, if you are waiting to apply, now is the time to consult with an attorney to help you evaluate your case and see what can be done or what steps can be taken to schedule your interview. Number 7, narrowed the scope of immigration enforcement. Now, under Trump, anyone who was out of status or undocumented was considered to be an enforcement priority and was therefore subject to deportation or removal. Under Biden, ICE and other agencies are now instructed to target removable non-citizens who are national security risks or public safety threats because of certain criminal convictions, or maybe they have gang involvement. Removable non-citizens who are outside of these enforcement priorities, of course, can still be arrested and removed, but it would require a supervisor's approval. Number 8, change the terminology in referring to non-citizens. The Biden administration is requiring the various U.S. governmental agencies to change the various terms in immigration. For example, illegal aliens should now be referred to as undocumented non-citizens. Now, the status of the person is that they are still out of status and subject to removal, but the Biden administration is now referring to people who are out of status and subject to deportation as undocumented rather than illegal. Now, these are some of the highlights of Biden's immigration accomplishments during his first 100 days. And of course, there are many more which I've not touched upon in this video, such as what is happening at the southern border, wall construction, asylum, and TPS. But many of the executive actions that Biden has already enacted could still benefit so many people in the U.S., even while we are waiting for Congress to pass comprehensive immigration reform or even piecemeal legislation. Now, if you believe you could benefit from any of these changes or policies, and in fact, many of which are simply going back to the pre-Trump era of immigration enforcement, you should consult with an attorney now, and the attorney can evaluate your situation, your status, and evaluate if you have options or hope. Now, we will continue to monitor developments in immigration reform and keep you posted on important developments. Therefore, don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel so you are updated on the latest immigration news, information, and changes. I'm Michael Gurfinkel, and thanks for watching U.S. Immigration TV.